What is hatching, Toga peeps? Oldmantup coming at you today with our Week 6 match versus Duncan Knee Deep and the Free State Torracats. And if you're excited about this matchup, go ahead and hit that thumbs up down there. And if you're not excited, sit on your thumbs up. Alright, now let's take a look at the teams. We've already got everything that we mentioned in the team builder yesterday. And I apologize if I sound a little tired. Today was the TTM tournament for March Madness, and big congrats to my friend Monatui for winning it, and El Scizor, our last week's opponent, for coming runner-up. So we had PPO and GBA friends in the finals, so I just want to give them a big congratulations because they're two fantastic battlers who deserve it. Now, let's take a look at the team Duncan brought. He has a Lowland Ninetales, a Lowland Marowak, Landorus, Keldeo, Weavile, and Mandibuzz. Now, we didn't prep as hard for Keldeo as we should have, and we don't really have a lot of safe switch-ins to a water attack. So that's discouraging. Our safest switch-in to a Scald, Surf, Hydro Pump is Blissey, who gets destroyed by a Sacred Sword. So we're going to have to play around that as smartly as possible. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. So alright guys, we are going to dive right into this match. A minute and a half in. So, we're battling Duncan Knee Deep. And I'm feeling pretty good about this. Even though we have the disadvantage to the Keldeo, we should be able to overcome that with hopefully some well thought out plays. Now, he's going to send out his Ninetales to lead straight off, which has Snow Warning, which calls the Hail. And we started off with Nidoking. Not a great matchup for us right off the bat. And we're going to go out into Rousey because we can take any hit it wants to give us, and we can set up rocks. So that's bueno. It's going to go for the Aurora Veil here, and I don't think there's much it can do to us. I highly doubt this is going to be a physical set. And even though we're going to be buffeted by the hail, we've got the leftovers, so that's not going to matter in the slightest. So we're going to take this opportunity because he's going to be switching out and set up our rocks, because that's bueno. He's going to send out I Am Learning, which is his Mandibuzz, which is just going to be able to defog these away if that is what he chooses to do. Also, big thanks to our Jenner and our match recorder, who I believe this week both may have been AA Ron, one of the GBA analysts. So big thank you for that. We're going to switch out here. We don't need a foul play to the face, and we want to come in and be able to get something going on once this defog comes up. So Steelix comes in. Going to be able to just go ahead. I believe we drop a Toxic this turn, or we're just going to reset the rocks. It's going to U-turn out. That is going to do negligible damage to us. We were Rocky Helmet this week, and it is going to start chipping away at him, which is just fantastic. But that is going to give him the initiative. He goes into Not a Horse, which is his Keldeo. I'm just like, oh, that's no bueno. We do get a Toxic off here, which is fantastic. That is going to slowly whittle this Keldeo down. Hopefully it is not a Calm Mind Rest set. That'd be no good whatsoever, especially since the combination of water and fighting pretty much tanks our team. So we got to watch out for that. Now he could be going straight away for the Sacred Sword here. I don't know if that is going to be his play. We are just going to go out into Blissey because I'm thinking he's probably going to go for a Scald, try and snag a burn real easy, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to go straight for the Scald, and that still does a nice chunk of damage, and he's going to get the burn turn one of the Scald, which is okay. We see the leftovers, which worries me a little bit, but that does give me a little sigh of relief, knowing that no matter what, Staraptor can come in after anything goes down and easily revenge this if he leaves it in. So that's really, really good for us. A bunch of after turn effects are going to go off here. He's just going to go for the Sacred Sword. We should be able to live one of those, but just kidding. We do live. We are going to be able to get our rocks back up, which is good, but unfortunately our only switch into a Scald has just gone down. Hoping that he doesn't snag another burn. I guess Oldmantup would be a decent enough switch into this, but I don't want to be trying to do that too early because Oldmantup is our answer to Weavile immediately. So we don't want to lose that right off the bat. We do survive the burn, which is fantastic, but unfortunately, the only thing this is really going to do to us is help us rack up poison damage on him. I was going to go for the Scald here. We are carrying the Protect this week, which is going to allow us to, as I mentioned, just rack up a bit more toxic damage on this thing and put it into a much more manageable range with the Stealth Rocks, that it isn't going to have the longevity that the leftovers would give it. Another turn staying in is going to put him in an easily revengeable range. And we're just going to toss up the Wish this turn. In the event he tries to switch out to preserve this from getting extra super toxic damage on it. Because he's going to be really whittled down after the toxic this turn. But he does stay in, makes the play. We didn't really have anything else to go to there. Nothing we have wants to come into a Sacred Sword. Aurora Veil is going to wear off, which is fantastic, because that means we just come in and lay the boom down on something. Boomstick comes in, and what are we going to do? Going to drop some bird spam, because bird spam is best spam. We're going to go with the Aerial Ace, and that is going to straight out hit this thing lickety split, taking it out, no problems whatsoever. Now, we're going to see a little bit of recoil here. And I've done the calcs, and as I mentioned in the team builder, we can take one Ice Shard and live, and we can trade this for Weavile right now. Now, he's going to go for the Ice Shard, and that is going to put us down pretty low to about 20, well, to exactly 25 HP. We see he's got the Life Orb, so that was a fairly comfortable live for us with our investment. We're going to get the Brave Bird off. It is going to completely destroy this thing's face, but unfortunately the recoil is going to take us down. And Boomstick is going to go down, which is sad. But it was a nice trade. We get Weavile out of the way. It probably would have been smarter for us to switch out into our answer to that, which was the Oldmantup and preserve Staraptor. But he's going to bring out the Alolan Ninetales, set up the Aurora Veil again, and we're just going to be able to come out and drop a Heavy Slam. Now, thanks to the Aurora Veil, he's not going to survive this turn. What am I talking about? But the first week, both the Mons we traded for come in and put in the work, each netting a kill, Staraptor itself netting 2 kills. Now, here comes this freaking Landorus. Now, he's going to set up a Swords Dance here. Now, this worries me a little bit, because I don't know how well I can take a +2 Earthquake with my Nidoking. So I'm scrambling to do the calcs. He's going to set up the Rock Polish here, which, I mean, it's immaterial. As long as we can survive the Earthquake, we'll be able to come in and take it down with our Nidoking. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So he is slowly getting whittled down by all of this. He hasn't attacked yet. He's going to drop the Earthquake this turn because he has to. There's no reason for him not to. We lost our only resistance to it this week. So Blitzburg's going to go down. Now, we're going to go out into our Oldmantup here. Get the Intimidate because that's what we need. And that's going to put this thing back to a manageable range where a full health very weakened Nidoking can come in and, depending on the set, live a hit. So he has Fly, which was an interesting tech on his team. That is going to take out Oldmantup, unfortunately. And we're going to send Shatter out here. Like I said, this was a rule for us to live. I don't know his exact investment, but we are going to just barely survive. The Shuckaberry tech was more than worth it, and Ice Beam is going to take this thing out even after the Yachi Berry, because it's whittled down so far. So thank goodness that thing is out of the way, because that was starting to look pretty stinking scary. Now Learning is going to come out here, which is his Mandibuzz, and is going to take a huge hit from Rocks, and we are just going to go ahead and hit the Ice Beam, try and get as much damage on this thing as possible. And he's going to Foul Play, which I thought was an interesting play on his part. I really expected him to Roost Up, considering he would know what we don't have Life Orb, and I thought he would want himself at the most possible health coming into this. The Aurora Veil is going to wear off, which is what allowed him to survive that hit so well. And now we're going to bring out Chandelure. Chandelure at this range, we're at our last Mon. So we missed the Will-O-Wisp there, which, I mean, only really negates one turn of Leftovers recovery. So that's not a huge miss. And we're at the point, he doesn't know exactly what my set is, but I'm on my last Mon and he has 2 left. This and a Lowland Marowak. Now I get the burn on this thing, and I wasn't sure if he would have like what dark move. I wasn't sure what dark moves he was going to have. He goes for the Foul Play, and I see that isn't enough to break a Substitute. So I'm like, I can sub up on this thing as long as he doesn't have some weird boosting set. I might be able to whittle this thing down. At this point right here, I'm just going to let it roll as we talk, because there's a lot of stuff going on from this point on. There was like 34 minutes left on the timer. And he messages me and says, hey, I can stall you out. I'm just like, okay. Well, it may be a few more turns in after he sees what my attacks are, because I don't think he would have told me that before. He didn't know that I didn't have Fire Blast. But this was a long and arduous battle. I'm going to go for the Hex here just to gauge the damage I can hit on this thing. And I see that does, like, really not much damage. So I'm like, okay. He's going to go for the Foul Play, and unless he's critting, it takes 2 of those to break a sub. And that was the second one, so that crit didn't even matter. So we're able to slowly, with the War of Attrition, fight this thing. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's still like 10 minutes left in the battle, and it is just this repeating and repeating. And the sad thing is, it would have been longer than that, but this match is going to be slowly drawn out. When I went for Hex there, he had to assume I didn't have Fire Blast. And what's going to happen is he messaged me while we were battling and said that he can stall me out with Roosts, which he very well could have. And I told him, I was like, listen, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and take it to timer. And he told me, he's like, I have enough Roosts with enough time that's on the clock to take you down to the timer. Now at this point, I still hadn't revealed my last move. And I don't know if he assumed it was something at this point, but I mean, it's Energy Ball. And around this point in the match, I realized if I'm going to take this thing down, I'm going to have to start getting special defense drops with Energy Ball. Now, that isn't going to make him Roost as often, but yeah, it's not this turn quite yet. I was still hoping for like super crits, and I finally got one there. And as you can see, even with the crit, it barely did a third damage. So that's no bueno for us. And yeah, he's going to be almost all the way back up to full. And then luckily for us, we weren't able to toxic this thing at any point during the match, because that would have just been fantastic and it would have made this match so much faster. But this was a really, really hard match to play, because we weren't even halfway through the match. And at that point, he made it abundantly clear to me that he was going to stall every play and take it to timer, because that was his win con. And I mean, to a point, I can appreciate that, because regardless of what may be said, there's no guarantee that if he played it at max speed, he could beat me. Because once this thing goes down, I outspeed a lowland Marowak, and fairly certain that I'm going to kill with a combination of rocks and hex, even though it isn't statused. It's still coming from a max special attack, a max special attack Chandelure with like 100 million zillion special attack, and Marowak's special defense isn't the greatest. So we are just, like I said, just going to continue to sub up and drop energy balls in the attempt to snag a few special defense drops. Now, it is only a 10% chance, so we are on the low side of, you know, getting that drop. But that is our hope at this point, and that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to hit him with the energy balls, and once we do get that drop, that's going to open up the door for us to really start hitting him harder. And we're hoping it's going to happen here relatively soon. Like I said, it wasn't easy to play this match, and it's really hard to remember exactly when everything happened, because it was like a minute and a half between every single turn. And it was just simply continue to click energy ball and hope for a special defense drop. And just him talking to me, giving me the impression he would wish I would forfeit to save us time, but me being too stubborn to do so, thinking if you're so convinced you're going to win, why not play it out at full speed? And I don't know, it was extremely frustrating, because I'm sitting here, even though I have a small percentage of a chance to still pull a win out of this, that small percentage of a chance is being stolen away, because I am being stalled out for nearly 35 minutes with this just grossness of play. And it was frustrating. It was extremely frustrating, because I'm sitting here praying for a special defense drop from these energy balls, and I don't know. It was just a really frustrating match. Have I said frustrating enough this match? Because it was really frustrating. So we're going to continue to sub down. And I don't know. I don't know. But, yep, we're just going to sub down and continue to drop the energy balls. And if at some point we get a drop, we can hopefully capitalize on it. But this duration of turns felt like it was forever. Forever. Even though it was only 35 minutes. But 35 minutes playing a fun Pokemon game that you're making plays and trying to do something the whole match isn't too bad. But when you're playing 35 minutes of taking it to the timer every single turn and just praying that you get a 10% drop is no bueno. And we just got a crit on the energy ball there. Not that it mattered a huge amount, because like I said, he can just roost off all the damage. Because I don't even think we put him at half yet, which is just crazy. But in the meantime, where I was talking, he defogged away the rocks, which was really smart on his point, because that means he's going to have a full health Alolan Marowak coming in. And unless he's Scarf, like I said, we're going to outspeed it regardless, so we will be able to hit it with that Hex. And he's going to roost up here. And we are sitting at what is ultimately our last leg here. And this was another reason why I was a bit more curious why he didn't play it out to speed, because he could have run us out of health really quick. But that didn't happen. We're going to get the energy ball off here. I believe this is where we finally get the special defense drop. I think it was after... Nope, it wasn't that turn. What the barnacles? It has to happen here soon. I remember it happening. But... yeah. No bueno. No bueno whatsoever. It's got to happen here sometime. Where is it at? We're getting low on the battle. There isn't much time left. And... is it going to happen this time? Get in with the energy ball. Come on. Let's snag that drop. Let's snag that drop. Which changes the game. There it is. The special defense drop happens. He's going to foul play here. And that is going to break our sub. But we do have him at -1 special defense. So now is the opportunity we need to capitalize on, and hopefully it will be enough to beat this thing. Now, this is the moment we've waited for. We need to set up another sub just to be safe, because he crits us, the game's over at that point right there. But he's just going to roost here. We're behind a full HP sub. And we are moving and grooving. We are really low on our health at this point. So we got to go on the offensive. We're going to go for the Hex here. Going to try and gauge, see how much damage it does. And that does a respectable chunk. Still less than half, but it's putting us in a good position. You get a U-turn out here, and I'm just like, what just happened? So we know it's full set now. It's Roost, U-turn, Defog, and Payback? No, not Payback, the other one. Foul play. And he switches this thing in, and we're sitting behind a full HP sub. And I'm like, did he just sack this thing off? I'm pretty sure we can one-shot it, and if not, we can two-shot it. So that Marowak is just going to go straight down, no questions asked, no crit needed. And we're sitting at 1-1 again. And I'm just like, okay. All we have to do is snag another energy ball drop, and we could potentially win this game. Now, the timer was getting really close to being over. So I needed to snag an energy ball drop so I could keep this thing at a lower health than what I have. Because at this point it isn't looking like I can knock it out without the help of a special defense drop and a crit from Hex. So we are banking on the energy ball drop at this point. Because there's no way he's going to, after that just happened, there's no way he's going to let this drag out and him let me kill him. He's probably just going to roost every single turn, or he's just going to foul play. I don't remember how close we were to the actual end of the battle at this point, but I mean, we were within 3-4 turns of the match being over. And we're at the point where I'm just thinking there's still a glimmer of hope, but I mean, in this next turn I need to get that drop and then just wail on him with something and him not roost at the same time. So we're gonna go for the Hex here, because I think we only had 1 or 2 turns left and I needed to put as much damage on him as possible. And he's gonna roost, making the smart plays, knowing that if he's at higher health than me, he's guaranteed the draw rules win. And that's going to be it. That was the last... Was that the last turn? Yeah, because after turn effects are going to take us to the end. So, timer ran out. The battle is over. Sorry for the cursor popping up on the screen there. And that's it. That was the end of the match. Very anticlimactic. And an agonizing match to play. I understand playing the timer is one of the game mechanics, and it is well within the rules of the GBA. But playing 2 timer, starting at the 34-ish minute mark, really is upsetting when you're on the other end of it, when there is still that glimmer of hope that you could win, even if your opponent tells you that you can't. But anyways, we are now sitting at 0-6. And I'm getting very frustrated with how I've performed. I'm getting frustrated that I'm not building better. And, I mean, it's never a fun place to be, sitting winless halfway through the season. And I apologize to Dallas Staryu for making his bold prediction incorrect. So, I've got some soul searching to do before my next match, because this was just... I would have preferred to be 6-0'd than timer stalled out at the point it was. If you were that confident that you could have beat me. Don't beat me with the timer. But that's just my opinion. Everyone is entitled to play the way they wish, and as I have already stated, the way that I was played against was well within the rules. So be sure and check out my opponent. From what I understand, he does fantastic FFAs. So check that out. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.